Abigail Williams, right, 13, and Liberty German, left, 14. Sergeant Kim Riley elaborated. This is information we received from persons who were in the area around the time the girls went missing. Either we did not make contact earlier, or they were afraid to come forward. While one witness could not definitively determine what color this man's eyes were, she had come close enough to the man that she was confident that his eyes were not blue. The composite sketch depicted a heavy-set, older man wearing a newsboy cap and a hoodie. The man's facial features depicted eyes with a notable epicanthic fold, a bulbous nose, and thin, downturned lips. However, investigators plead the public to not focus on the hat. The suspect was described as a Caucasian male between 5'6" and 5'10", weighing between 180 to 220 pounds, with reddish-brown hair. Persons of interest. When this sketch was released, authorities found that people, particularly internet sleuths, were posting side-by-side images of people they believed to be suspect in the sketch. While authorities believe that these people generally have good intentions, they have said it's not only damaging to the investigation, but also puts the person pictured, as well as their livelihoods, children, and families, at risk. Nonetheless, the side-by-side images spread across the internet. There have been very few known suspects or persons of interest since the day of the murders. The first big publicized break that would bring the case back to surface was the arrest of Daniel Nations, who was apprehended at a traffic stop in Colorado for wielding a hatchet and threatening people on a trail. Nations would later be suspected of the murder of Tim Watkins, an unsolved murder that had occurred on the same trail only 2 weeks prior. In Nations' car, a red Chevy Prism was a hatchet and a .22 caliber rifle. Nations had an extensive criminal record, including petty offenses, domestic violence, and is also a registered sex offender who was charged with indecent exposure after having masturbated in front of a young woman in South Carolina. Nations had connections to Indiana and had claimed to be homeless and living underneath an Indiana 67 bridge in Morgan County since January 31, 2017. Indiana State Police had questioned Nations in October, where they had also obtained his DNA for further processing. In December, Indiana State Police stated that Nations was still being looked at, but he was not currently their top priority. On February 14th, the day after the murders were committed, Nations was present for his weekly checkup with authorities and had been consistently attending in the time prior. As of January 5, 2018, Nations pleaded guilty to menacing and was sentenced to 3 years on supervised probation. Nations has not been legally accused of being involved in Watkins' murder. Another person of interest, then 53-year-old Thomas Bruce, surfaced in November of 2018. On November 19th, Bruce entered a religious supply store in St. Louis, Missouri, where he forced 3 women, 53-year-old customer Jamie Schmidt and 2 employees, into a back room. Bruce ordered the 3 women to disrobe and perform sexual acts. However, Schmidt refused to comply with Bruce's demands and was fatally shot in the head. Indiana State Police contacted St. Louis Police after noting physical similarities between Bruce and the composite sketch. When asked if Bruce had any connection to the Delphi murders, Indiana State Police answered that it was too premature to say. Indiana State Police has not commented on Bruce since. By 2019, another person of interest came to light. In January of 2019, then 46-year-old Charles Eldridge was apprehended during an undercover sting operation in Union City, Indiana, after he arranged to have sexual intercourse with a Randolph County police officer that was posing as a 13-year-old girl. Eldridge was charged with 2 counts of child molestation. When this news circulated, Indiana residents began flooding the Delphi tip line by bringing Indiana State Police's attention to the recent charges. Many callers noted the physical resemblance between Eldridge and the composite sketch. Furthermore, it had been revealed that Eldridge was familiar with the Delphi murders and previously posted about Abby and Libby on his social media accounts, uploaded photos that he took on nature trails, and appeared to have owned several guns. Inundated by calls, Indiana State Police was forced to release a statement regarding Eldridge's arrest. Indiana State Police stated, "The Delphi multi-agency investigative team and participating agencies continue to receive media and public inquiries asking about the person arrested January 8, 2019 in Union City, Randolph County, Indiana, for allegations of sexually related crimes against children, and if he is connected to the Delphi investigation. The team is aware of this arrest and will investigate to see if there could be any connection to the murders that occurred in Delphi, Indiana, on February 14th of 2017. The victims were 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams. Delphi is located about 20 miles northeast of Lafayette. It is important for the public and media to know that many similar tips and arrests of other persons alleged to be connected to the Delphi murders occur with some frequency in and outside of Indiana. Each tip, whether it receives media attention or not, is investigated for any connection to the Delphi case. That said, members of the Delphi multi-agency investigative team do not speak to specific actions or steps of the ongoing investigation. In the end, none of these persons of interest led to an arrest, and as of now, investigators are still searching for the suspect. FBI agent Greg Massa presented a behavioral profile of the suspect. Massa asked the public to think of an individual in their lives who has, for instance, inexplicably canceled an appointment you had had together. An individual who called into work sick and canceled an important appointment or engagement, and at the time what would have been a plausible explanation, "My cell phone broke" or "I had a flat tire." But in retrospect, that excuse no longer holds water. That may be important. Behavioral indicators this individual may have exhibited since the 13th. Did this individual travel unexpectedly? Did they change their appearance? Did they shave their beard, cut their hair, change the color of their hair? The superintendent mentioned that the clothes this individual was wearing in the photo. Did they change the way they dress? Massa also asked people to pay attention to behaviors that are being exhibited more suddenly, such as a sudden change of sleep pattern, sudden abuse of substances, as well as sudden anxiousness or irritability. Delphi homicide moves in new direction. After months of no news, on April 19, 2019, Indiana State Police released a statement titled, "Delphi Homicide Investigation Moves in New Direction." The direction noted that the public was welcome to attend a media briefing on the following Monday at the Canal Center in Delphi. Superintendent Doug Carter would make the announcement on behalf of the multi-agency task force. The public grew curious and began to speculate that an arrest was made, new information was going to be released, or that a new agency would be responsible for the investigation. Come Monday, a room packed with attendees, including the families of Abby and Libby, sat in front of a red drape. When the press conference commenced, all eyes and ears were focused on Carter. Within minutes, Carter stated, "We're seeking the public's help to identify the driver of a vehicle that was parked at the old CPS-DCS welfare building in the city of Delphi that was abandoned on the side of County Road 300 North, next to the Hoosier Heartland Highway, between the hours of noon to 5 on February 14, 2017. Note: Carter misspoke, and the date was later corrected to February 13th. If you were parked there or know who was parked there, please contact the officers at the command post at the Delphi City Building." In addition, Carter stated that they were releasing additional portions of the audio and asked the public to be aware that the individual speaking was the same individual who had said "down the hill." The additional portion of the audio included a singular word, "guys." The sentence, "guys, down the hill," was played on repeat for the audience. Furthermore, Carter also released the first footage in the investigation. While only the stills of the suspect on the bridge were available previously, people could now see the suspect in action, crossing the bridge with his head down and his hands in his pockets. Though the footage lasts all but 2 seconds, Carter asked that the public be aware he, the suspect, is walking on the former railroad bridge. Because of the deteriorated condition of the bridge, the suspect is not walking naturally due to the spacing between the ties. Carter added, "During the course of this investigation, we have concluded the first sketch released will become secondary as of today. The result of the new information and intelligence over time leads us to believe the sketch is the person responsible for the murders of these 2 little girls. We also believe this person is from Delphi currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here. We believe this person is currently between the age range of 18 and 40, but might appear younger than his true age." Carter, who at this time addressed the suspect directly, said, "Directly to the killer, who may be in this room. We believe you are hiding in plain sight. For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift gears to a different investigative strategy, but we have. We have likely interviewed you or someone close to you. We know this is about power to you, and you want to know what we know, and one day you will. A question to you: What will those closest to you think of you when they find out that you brutally murdered 2 little girls, 2 children? Only a coward would do such a thing. We are confident that you have told someone what you have done, or at the very least they know because of how different you are since the murders. It was after Carter concluded his message that the attendees' curiosity would be satisfied. The red drape was finally lifted, revealing yet another composite sketch, one that bore no resemblance to the previous sketch. As expected, the public had many questions. As Carter explained, he and the investigative team would not be taking questions for 2 weeks. It wasn't until Carter sat for an interview with Scott Sander, a reporter from News 8, a local news station, that the public would get their answers. Sander, like many people, was interested in learning whether or not Carter actually believed the suspect was in the room or was speaking figuratively. Carter answered, "I think if he wasn't in the room, he was close by, but I'm 100% convinced he was watching." Why? Because of all that has happened over the past 30 months, the information we have received, the information we knew. I hope to one day be able to tell that story. Sander also asked why the footage wasn't released sooner. Carter answered, "We'll one day be able to tell you what we know and why we didn't release it. We don't want to show our full hand. We don't want to show the complete picture of what we know versus what we think. We have to be very careful there. Remember, it's easy to give an opinion if you don't understand the factual basis of what we've done and why. I don't mean that in a critical sense, but we have to protect the integrity of what we know." Sander then clarified whether or not it's correct that Indiana State Police doesn't want the public to look at both sketches, but only the newly released sketch. Carter answered, "That's correct, but remember, a sketch is not a photograph. It's something similar to a resemblance. The likelihood of this being something between the 2 sketches is likely very strong. But again, that's a subjective opinion based on what I believe." People have criticized Carter and the investigative team for being tight-lipped throughout the course of the investigation. Opinions are strong, and some believe that the investigation was botched. To many, it's unfathomable why Indiana State Police won't release details such as the girl's cause of death. However, Carter, who had addressed the criticism, explains, "Only the killer knows that cause of death, and significant other do we. We can't show our full hand, we just can't." 3 years later. Since February 13th of this week, it has officially been 3 years since Abby and Libby were brutally murdered. The case remains unsolved, but authorities remain confident that the case will soon be solved. Indiana State Police did not hold a press conference for the 3rd anniversary, unlike the past 2 years, where authorities gathered to provide the public an update. As a result, News 18, a local news station, sat for an interview with Carter. Carter said, "We are still as energized now as we were the day after. It's easy to throw out the cold case idea. No assholes here. We're not even close to that." When asked how close they were to solving the case, Carter answered, "One piece away, one piece away. Eventually, somebody will do the right thing. It might be the killer himself, might be a person who knows who he is." The families of Abby and Libby hold out hope that this case will be solved. Every morning, they repeat their mantra, "Today is the day." Mike said, "I can't give up hope. What else is there? And the fact that I believe in our justice system. I believe in our law enforcement. I believe in our society, because if we give up and just let people get away with things like this, then what does our society become?" Mike later added, "Someday I'll meet her again, when the good Lord lets me through the gates, and I hope she's able to say, 'Thanks, Grandpa, you did a good job.'" As the investigation goes on, Indiana State Police is currently processing over thousands of tips, waiting for the one tip that they believe is capable of breaking the case. Links. Delphi Press Conference, February 22, 17. Scene of the Crime, Delphi Podcast. Delphi Timeline by user You-Just-Wonderinif. Police release sketch of suspect. Man threatening bicyclists arrested. No info includes or excludes Daniel Nations. Daniel Nations says he did not commit Delphi murders. ISP addresses Catholic supply store murderer. Police investigate accused child molester in connection to Delphi murders. Delphi murders, 3 years later, family is still hopeful for justice. ISP, one piece away from solving Delphi homicides. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. It really helps new creators like us. See you in the next one.